He goes, but I hold this against you, that you allow that woman, Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, to teach and lead my servants astray, to commit whoring and eat food offered to idols. And again, the whoring and the food offered to idols are metaphors for the things that you could be doing. They're not just those two literal things. Although they could be, but it's not limited to that, all right? So we have this person who calls herself a prophetess and is being allowed to teach and lead the servants. I can't tell you how many people, again, are sending me stuff saying, oh, this person's a prophet, this person's a prophetess, and it doesn't have to, let's not just focus on the women thing. Oh, there you guys are going to go. Now women need to sit down and shut up. No, it doesn't say that. What it's showing here, what is the problem with Jezebel? Is Isabel there? What was really the problem with her? Her husband. Let's deal with the man. She couldn't do anything if he had not let her. Okay, so we need an Ahab to have a Jezebel. We understand? Okay? And so it's saying here, you have allowed this to happen. I'm saying that this is probably saying you guys have not gotten your vertical alignment right, and the men have dropped the ball. Okay, others will read this wanting to attack women. No, I'm seeing here a man problem, not just a woman problem. The men are right, the women can't do this. Okay? If the men are doing what they're supposed to do, the way they're supposed to do it, this can't happen. Can we all agree? Okay? So I'm going to blame that. He says, I hold this against you, and this is how I know I'm right, by the way, because he says, I hold this against you that you what? Allow. Isn't that what the husband did? The problem is the person allowing, not the person doing. Because if you didn't allow it, they wouldn't get to do it. Okay, so this is to say, look, this group, you're doing great, you have belief, you have works, you have love, serving, you're doing all these great things, but you're still allowing this to happen. So on your personal level, yeah, you're zealous and you've got all this effort and you're serving and you have love and you're doing all this other great stuff, but you're allowing, you're not standing up. See, there are groups of us or individuals of us that are very good at all these things, but we're spineless when it comes to standing up against. So we allow. People get mad at me. Oh, they get so mad because I'll stand up and say, no, that's not happening here. Then they get all mad. Well, this says we need somebody to stand up on every now and then there's going to be an issue that comes up where somebody needs to stand up and say, that is not happening here. Okay? And so that was their problem. So you can be all excited and zealous, and you have the works and the love, the service, the belief, the endurance, all that stuff, but you don't have the backbone, the spine, the chutzpah, whatever the word is, to stand up and say, no. Because some of you have all this and you're strong, and you're like, yeah, but that person isn't leading me astray, but you're allowing them to do it to others. Some of them, maybe you're stronger than some people, so maybe that person doesn't bother you. And there are people out there that I've talked to about teachers out there that I believe are problematic, and some of you don't think they're problematic. You know why? Because they're not a problem for you. Is that good enough? I think not. If they're a problem for others, they're a problem. Oh, but they're not a problem for me. See, I think that's where this is talking about here. Okay? Just because it doesn't seem to be a problem for you, and I'll grant that it's not. How's that? We'll grant that it really is not a problem for you. This person really is not causing you a problem. But what about the weaker ones out there that it is causing them a problem? Should you not be standing against that? Oh, but. What do you mean, but? Why are we defending somebody that's causing a problem? Well, but I'm able to see through all that, and I'm okay, and I like this person, and I like their teachings, blah, blah, blah. You could be falling into the problem here that's being talked about to the group in Thyatira. And see, what are you supposed to be doing with all of this? Looking for you. Do you see yourself based on what was described with Ephesus? Do you see yourself with Smyrna? Do you see yourself with Thyatira? Are you seeing you in any of this? Pergamos? Look for you. Is any of this, can you wear this? If the shoe fits, can you wear this? And then what's he say? He says, well, if it does, then you're going to have to repent. That's the piece that you're missing. Because notice that you can wear the good parts of some of this. I know your works because you're bearing up and you endure and you have love and you're serving and you have belief. That part you're very happy to wear. But you don't want to wear when he says, yet I hold this against you. That's all great, but I hold this against you. Don't tell me you don't have something he can hold against you. You're still breathing. I'm sure there's something that you need to work on. And so he says, I know your works, but I hold this against you. He says, you're still dealing with stuff. You're allowing. He says, verse 21, and I gave her time to repent of her whoring, but she did not repent. So that's where the mindset is. Once you allow this, can you become like her? Not desiring to repent because you think you're right, you think you're fine, you think it's all good? That's the trap. So you might want to ask yourself, who is it possible that I am allowing in my life to influence me and others that could possibly be a Jezebel? Who could be a prophet that's not really a prophet, that I'm treating like a prophet because I like their teachings or I like certain things about them, but they should not be treated on that level of respect because of what other people are getting out of it and where it's going. It's not just about you. Remember, Abba's plan, you ready now? Every bit of it has got two factors to it. It's about him, not you, and it's about you in that context, but in a group dynamic. So number one, it's all about him, and the part that's about you is because it's about him. He wants people, for whatever reason, to live with forever, and it's going to be in a group dynamic. So you can't be so selfish by only thinking about, well, it doesn't bother me, then it's okay. Because some of you have had to argue with this and say, but it bothers other people, and it's leading other people, and you'll say, well, I don't get why that is, so I don't care. Well, you got to have to let that go. Either it is or it isn't happening. And if I can show and demonstrate that it is happening, what are you going to do with that? Because some of you still want to listen to people you shouldn't be listening to. And that's where the Jezebel is. Remember, it says here about her being a prophetess. In other words, someone who's coming with speaking the word of Yahweh with authority. What's a prophet or a prophetess? Someone who speaks the word with authority. So this is a person claiming to be a speaker with authority. In other words, someone who's speaking on his behalf with authority. Well, if that person is thought of by you as an authority, speaking Yahweh on his behalf, speaking his word, what are you likely to do? Listen, follow, obey, be instructed by, right? Because if you think that person is speaking his word with authority, that's what you should do. But remember, there was another group that said, but you're able to recognize those ones that are not true, those false emissaries. So I'll give you that. That was in verse 2, right? So they know your works and your labor. He says that you have tried those who say they are whatever they claim to be and are not. In this case, he says apostles or emissaries. But what about those who claim to be prophets, teachers, any of the fivefold, and it turns out they're not? Are you testing? We got to be really careful with this. I know he's meddling again. I know. Stop meddling, Rabbi. Just stop it.